Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy weekend. Welcome back from the weekend. And here we are, rock and roll. Happy Tuesday. Stefan here, founder of Laguna Labs, founder behind Truflation and the Truth Network. This powerful network of 100 million data points with three different price feeds for all of that data, especially focused around economic and financial data. And then also allowing you with SQL smart contracts to be able to create calculations using that data and then having them served onto various exchanges and chains, or even to Web2 platforms. Anyway, happy to be here. Nice to be back. And thanks for taking the time out. Sorry for being a bit late. I did have an urgent meeting that I needed to attend to and just make sure that I closed that out properly and came here prepared. So thanks for your patience. I appreciate this being 45 minutes off. Actually, we're actually 1 hour and 45 minutes off because of daylight saving time. But yeah, it just makes it important. We are a decentralized team, so we're fully decentralized and working with members all over the world. And so, how do we deal with that? Our times do shift to fit the various team members all around the world. And so, we work sort of on UTC, and UTC hasn't had daylight saving times yet. So, once the other nations, as in Europe and Asia, go to daylight saving times, then things might change on our side. Anyway, lots been going on, and I'm sure a lot of you have realized and um, seen what's been happening. It's been an amazing week for Truflation. Let me just share this with you over here. You're all the way over here. I should actually have you up here. But yeah, here I'm going to share the screen. Yeah, it's been for Truflation, we've had an amazing bump, right? So in Arbitrum, we had an amazing performance. You can see our token hit 58% bump. I think people are beginning to realize, and not only that, also in terms of the category of RWA, people are beginning to realize that we are in RWA and a good play in that area, working alongside Plume Network, who we just did in a partnership with. I don't know if you saw that, but we did an announcement working with Nexus, which is their data availability network, and we are providing data to that data availability layer. So we're pretty excited about what we're doing. And yeah, ultimately, I think the market is beginning to share that recognition for what we've been working on. And so excited to see that. Obviously, the team's super motivated about that. And yeah, glad to be sharing some positive news after really being hammered and beaten up over the last sort of, yeah, I guess half a year. Particularly, it's been in the trenches. Any builder knows exactly what we've been going through and what that's like. So it is rough, it is tough. And for any investor holding the Truth token, it's been tough. But all of you that have held out, yeah, it's still got a way to hold out. You've seen the market terms, but I think it is looking somewhat exciting out there. And despite what the market tells you, it is actually a bit more positive than I think we should be upset about or not. But here you can see a lot of people. Robinhood just came an announcement and launched a prediction market on the Robinhood platform, right? Yeah, so the bets are going to be available across the US through regulated exchange called Kalshi X. So there's some sort of joint venture partnership with Kalshi. Kalshi is a CFT regulated prediction market. Tarek over there, who's the lead, yeah, so is working with um, the Robinhood team to make that a reality. We've been talking to Kalshi for a while, how we can get our predictions up there. And hopefully now, Tarek, you're listening, we would love to come up there and help work out. We've also been talking to the Bitstamp team. As you've just seen last week, we launched and opened up the Truth token on Bitstamp again. So after the migration and the rebranding, we're now live on Bitstamp, and Bitstamp's going through the integration and absorption with Robinhood. So we'll see a lot of the Bitstamp partnerships available on Robinhood, should that be finalized after approval with all the regulators and stuff. Obviously, it's cross border, so there's going to be additional regulatory requirements needed for that. But the team at Bitstamp are a really good team, and I can only speak very highly and how professional they are. And yeah, just yeah, been one of the oldest exchanges around there. So super good to see, and we're just glad to be a partnership in partnership with them on building this out. I'm going to increase the volume here so you should hear me better. Hopefully now the audio is a bit better and you can hear me well. Yeah, so excited about that. And also, I don't know, where predictions and markets are going is these are going to be the new sources of truth for understanding and getting trusted, reliable information from, in terms of helping understand where markets could be going in the event of this impact. What do people think about that impact and what that will take? And I mean, obviously, one of the things that I'll be coming and talking to about later is interest rates, right? We know interest rates are on the cards. People are going to want to talk about interest rates. Powell and the FOMC are getting together this week, so they're going to be talking about that. And we ultimately have an opinion on that, obviously, as we are heavily involved in the data for economic and financial situations that we're currently in. But I think one thing, there's a really good blog post, in case I haven't shared it yet, by Vitalik that talks about the movement from prediction markets to info finance. And you can read it, search it up, it's on his website. But ultimately, the conclusion is info finance solves trust problems that people actually have. A common concern of this era is the lack of knowledge, and worse, a lack of consensus about whom to trust in political, scientific, and commercial contexts. Info finance applications could help be a part of the solution. And as you know, at Truth Network, we are trying to be a part of that solution, where we have a Roadrunner consensus algorithm that we're now implementing in our upgrade. We have SQL smart contracts. We have data sets, 100 million data sets that have 3 price feeds for every single data set that we track. And so those are on-chain and RWA and financial and economic data sets. And so we're that other part of the solution. And we think we bet on this 3-4 years ago. And today we're seeing it more and more become a need to have an independent source of truth. And so that's why we built out the Truth Network, as all of you know. We now have scalable blockchains as the substrate. Yes. So this is what we're doing. We have an SQL blockchain written in SQL, and ultimately any developer, there are 30 million software developers worldwide, of which 15 million developers work with SQL. So that's important. And SQL basically in the database space captures 80% of all databases are using SQL, right? So boom, that's why SQL is such an important element. Think about it, data, think about AI, all of it. Data is the new oil. Where do you go for that? What languages do you need to interact with that? How do you build functionalities and features using that data set? SQL smart contracts, that is what's going to help us progress. And that's what we've built the Truth Network around. So up until very recently, fees were too high and to actually implement most of these ideas. Now they're no longer too high. So not only fees, so you don't even pay fees. You have a subscription element from the data of the Truth Network. AIs as participants, right? So yeah, so one of the things that we're seeing is that APIs are being replaced by MCP. So it's basically, think of it as AI agentic APIs. So what does that mean? An API, anytime you change a little feature in an API, or an API gets a version upgrade to get more streamlined and to process the data better and deliver that data to an end user or a tool or a web service, all of a sudden now those web services are getting better. They're getting more optimized. Now the API changes. Okay, that web service, that tool that is pulling from that API has to react to the change in the API. And it needs to do that across hundreds of different tools that are connected via that API to that change. And not necessarily does the API manager always know who's subscribing to those services. And the tools now have to adjust to all those new services that the API is delivering. There's a protocol that's been in development called MCP. And MCP basically allows the tool to learn what the changes are and thereby adapt the tool to those changes. So the tool doesn't need to work anymore to update the API feed and adjust the tool associated with that. So that is a really important innovation. It's still super early, but that's what we're trying to bake in as an adapter for an SDK for users to work with off the Truth Network. And you've seen how easy it is, and I'll share with you how easy it is. But anyway, AI as participants. Info finance is relatively difficult to make work when it must depend on humans to participate on each question. As AIs greatly improve the situation, enabling effective markets even on a small scale questions. Many markets will likely have a combination of AI and human participants, especially as volume on specific questions suddenly switches from small to large. So that's ultimately how people participate in prediction markets. And we've been working on Index.Fund, which is a prediction market on the blockchain and using indexes. So here you can explore indexes. You've got a number of different indexes. And when you go into the index, you can hear an example, the deadlift index, which is all the CEOs that are doing deadlifts. You can see, for an example here, that there's a weighted average across all these elements. And you can see bet up, bet down. This is still on testnet. I'm not on the real live one, so you can see some things are not loaded. But you have a prediction market here. And so we'll be having AI working alongside the participants to support and vote on up or down associated with these underlying assets. So interesting to see. And we will get this going and tell you how that works. And you can join and participate in that. So we're super excited about that, having lots of interesting calls, interesting partnerships that the Index.Fund is coming out and going onto market with. So stay tuned to that. No, that's the positive side. That's the builders. That's technology. That's innovation that's really kicking in and taking place, right? What we now want to see is how does that translate into the real economy, and not really good, right? The markets are not performing really well, especially if you're in the US. And I'm just trying to figure out, why is that the case, right? Why are the markets so negative, especially in the US, right? And so here, let me just share this screen with you. Ding, bang, 1, 2, 3. Here you go. Look, March average drops is the biggest drop in equity allocation on record. So sucking out a lot of money out of equities, moving all the way to Europe. I don't understand that. UK, EM, I don't know what EM is. Oh, keeping it in cash. That, I think, is Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway. They were keeping in cash. I don't know what staples and materials. Are they buying gold? Is that mere banks, utilities, etc.? Commodities, very low. We all know gold is pretty high. But yeah, so people are putting it into the Eurozone. Interesting, given what's going on over there. So not too bullish. But on the flip side, I don't understand why, right? Right now, gas prices are at a 4-year low. So gas has dropped to a 4-year low. And we know gas drives a lot around inflation. And you can see on Truflation how it is at the 4-year low. Back here, we were in April 2021, and we're now about the same level of that. So that's like a 4-year low. You can follow that. WTI prices. Now let's go and see what Brent is doing. So Brent is the price of oil in the UK. WTI is West Texas. So that's a oil price in the US, basically. And here also 4-year low. Let's go to max. What are we seeing here? 4-year. Yeah, roughly same here. What are we here? December 2021. Yeah, we're even lower than that. We're about at this level. What is this level here? It's roughly November 9th, 2021. And so, yeah, so you can see roughly 4-year low. So it's accurate. And yeah, again, what does that mean? That brings down cost of transportation, brings down all these other elements, as oil is a big contributor to utilities, air conditioning, heating, transportation, airlines, cars, buses, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's coming down. And yeah, and at the same time, we have employment numbers coming down. People are still super pessimistic despite all of that. And the job market. So why people are expecting jobs to come down? So okay, God damn, jobs are coming down, and why is that, right? And so we have oil going down, jobs going down, investment going down, trade balance here. People are so worried, but actually, if you look at the trade balances, the US is all the way down here with its trade, tariffs out there and everything else, non-tariff trade. They're all the way down here. Look, Mexico's got higher trade tariffs. Japan, Indonesia, every single nation other than maybe Canada looks as though they have a similar one. Australia is a bit better on their trade barriers, right? But if you look all the way over here, Argentina, South Korea, India, Turkey, China, Brazil, everybody's got super high. France, Italy, and Germany, all really high interest, in tariffs. So, I don't know why people are so upset and depressed, and etc. And then at the same time, you can see here, you secretly thinks there's going to be no, is that percent of that? I mean, their jobs. Money is fleeing. The stock market is down. Interest rates, trade balance, tariffs maybe generate different type of income from participants. Prices coming down, oil coming down. So wouldn't that imply that interest rates should be coming down? We've tackled inflation. Unemployment likely to go up. People are scared of unemployment. We just saw the impact that might have. So why no decrease now? May 7th, 80%, no decrease. So maybe a 25 basis points drop. And then 18th, boom, no drop. And to me, the weird thing about this is at the same time we have all of this going on, we see over here in Europe, Switzerland just announced a rate drop. Canada announced a rate drop. Or will drop rates. Riksbank in Sweden dropping rates. So you're seeing all of a sudden all the other national banks around the world dropping interest rates. Canada, dramatic drop. Look at that steep drop and decline. Bank of England coming down. So everybody's beginning to drop interest rates. Is this an accurate prediction of the market? Let's see. We'll find out on March 19th. That's tomorrow, Wednesday. So stay tuned. We'll have Powell go out and give a response, and everybody's going to dissect every single word he says. But there's $63 million riding on this bet. What did you bet on? If you bet on, yes, a 50 basis points, odds are going to be really good. You get a 250 return. Are you willing to put $1 in and possibly win $250? Ooh, very attractive. I'm not promoting betting here, but given where the rest of the markets are going, let's see how that ends up, where that ends up. Yeah, I think here, I'm not sure if I shared this with you, but this was the graph I was trying to highlight where the interest rates are beginning to change. Yeah, given that I started a bit late, I think one of the other final things that really struck me was, I don't know if you've seen this video with Elon talking to Ted Cruz, where he talks about the magic money printer in the government, where magic money computers, he calls them, sorry. I don't know if you've seen this video, but it's about a minute long. And
one of the things you told me about is what you call insane. Magic money computers at the Treasury. Well, so tell us about it, because I never heard of that until you brought that up.
Okay, so you may think that the government computers like all talk to each other, they synchronize, they add up what funds are going somewhere, and it's it's coherent. There's and the numbers, for example, that you're presented as a senator, are actually the real numbers.
One would think.
They're not. Yeah. Okay. They're not totally wrong, but they're probably off by 5% or 10% in some cases. So I call a magic money computer any computer which can just make money out of thin air. That's magic money.
So how does that work?
It just issues payments.
And you said there's something like 11 of these computers at Treasury that are sending out trillions in payments?
They're mostly at Treasury. Some are, but there's some at HHS, there's one or two at State, there's some at DOD. I think we found now 14 magic money computers.
14, okay.
They just send money out of nothing.
So they just send money out of nothing, 14 magic computers. That's how inflation is created. And basically, what does that mean? What does that mean, send out of nothing? They then basically have nothing. They send money. They tell, we're going to send you money, and ultimately goes into a bank somewhere, and the bank says, oh, we're going to get it from the government sometime, I guess. And when is it collected, and how is it collected, right? I was watching, hey, Thibaut Auger, thanks. Auger, thanks for joining. I was watching the live and I had a fucking heart attack. Heartquake. I don't know what that means, man. But I hope you're okay, and hopefully there's no earthquake. And if there was an earthquake, hopefully you're okay. But yeah, so that was that. I just thought of coming back to the magic money printer. I think that's really interesting to watch and see. But yeah, and not only is it happening in the US, Germany just passed a 500 billion fund. Let's hope this actually goes to upgrading roads, railways, digital networks, strengthen the military, and boost the economy. I hope that these lawmakers, who are lawyers and not very computer literate, actually understand what it means and how to allocate investments into modern infrastructure, modern warfare. The warfare today is no longer big tanks and big bazookas and guns and all of that. It's high, precise, AI-driven, super fast drones. And there's a really good presentation by Eric Prince, who's the former founder of Blackwater, or still the CEO. I don't know what his title actually is, where he talks about the cost, the response time, and the agility at which modern technology and innovation is going to change the landscape of computing and military. So let's hope these lawmakers don't misallocate inappropriate funds, because they're not exactly famous for being straight and narrow. Here, an article around EU Parliament rocked by corruption investigation linked to China's Huawei. So apparently, their Belgian authorities announced arrests of several people in connection with alleged bribery, right? So then on the European website, there's another article. Corruption is estimated to cost European Union between 179 billion to $1 trillion a year. 1 trillion. I mean, look at that variation. That's 100 billion to 1 trillion a year, or 6% of GDP. Is that 6% in 1 trillion, or is that 6% in 179 trillion? billion, but 70% of Europeans believe that corruption is widespread in their countries. 70%, an increase of 2 points. I mean, Jesus. I mean, that's how. I mean, the faith and the entrenchment of corruption in the countries. That's how you get inefficiencies, and that's why we have Brussels. 35% of EU businesses consider corruption to be a problem in doing business. 60% of EU businesses agree with the statement that bribery and use of connections is often the easiest way to obtain certain public services. And so these are the people that are entrusting the delivery. We are entrusting, or you as a voter are entrusting to manage these $500 billion. So how much of that is actually going to be getting? That's why this should be on the blockchain. We should be transparent, and we should see what wallets they go to. And those wallets should only be unlocked once there is an acceptance certificate issued by some authority that actually can certify, take pictures of, and verify the actual completion of the specific projects. And by the way, these are the same people that decide, that actually are issuing a stablecoin. So Lagarde reports that digital will launch in Europe. They will track every payment. They will block purchases, tax automatically, and without cash, you need to depend on the European Central Bank. So the European Central Bank, but they've also done caveats. So you can already see they've then actually capped holdings. So we would set a limitation for the amount of digital euros that a person or company can hold in their digital euro wallet. So there's only a certain number of cash that you can have on your wallet, on your phone. It's like, wow, why that? Why can't I have as much as I want? I'm earning and working hard. I work 24/7. I'm up at midnight and etc. And I can't even have my own money and access that. Why would I do that? Why would I take a euro CBDC versus crypto assets of any other format? And that's why you need to get Nuon. It's an inflation-protected stablecoin, Nuon.fi. You got to get that. You get yield, get the new mint token. You're a part of the strategy holder, and you can define the strategy and the outcome to generate excess yield beyond inflation and earn part of that. So those are things and products that are free, protocol-driven. No central banker deciding how that goes and how to use and spend your money. And I think that's partially the reason why you're seeing the rise of Bitcoin reserves. So Finland has some, but check out this little country called Bhutan. Bhutan has $1.1 billion worth of Bitcoin. China, 17 billion, 194,000. The US, 112 billion. So multiple countries have been acquiring and accumulating assets. Funny, Ukraine has 4 billion. I didn't know that. I mean, that seems like a hell of a lot of, Bitcoin and money, and they still need more money. So I guess, people are stockpiling. Why? Because money printer go burr. We have magic money computers. We have CBDC coming about. We have them limiting and taxing at source right away. So there are a lot of things that are changing right now, and that's why crypto is really important. And by the way, these are the same people that will turn private savings into much needed investment. So they're taking your pension funds and allocating those towards investments that they define and prop up the European economy. So if you're in Europe, your savings will be used to keep the Ponzi scheme called the European Union going. Your cost of living is about to go up fast. Buy Bitcoin to protect yourself. So here, von der Leyen, Europe has all it needs to take the lead in competitive race. This month, the EU Commission will unveil the Savings and Investment Union. I think the intention and the marketing of creating a Savings and Investment Union is ideally to actually create one common standard for all the savings and loans or investments across the whole EU. But ultimately, will turn we will turn private savings into much needed investment. They're going to take your private savings and prop up products and companies that they have not been able to keep alive. Think of Northvolt. We talked about Northvolt the other day. Check them out. How much money from the European government went into that and went down the drain, and the company ultimately went bankrupt. And if that's your private savings, what is the checks and balance on that investment? Who knows? But these are the people that are going to be building up. Sorry, I wasn't sharing this tab. But these are the people that are going to be building up and developing a CBDC. Anyway, food for thought. I think on a positive note, we've got an FOMC meeting tomorrow. If they change it, it will be really, really interesting. And if they don't change it, we will see where we go from there. But yeah, exciting times. We've got gas prices down. Inflation should be coming down. We've predicted it on Truflation a lot of times. You can get all of this on truflation.com. Go check it out. Please subscribe to this channel. Follow us on all the other channels, but subscribe to this channel. Hit the like and add everything so that you keep up to date on YouTube or even on X. You follow us and you get all the latest updates over here. Yeah, Thibaut again. Thanks. Yeah, real earthquake. Yeah, really sorry. Wow. Yeah, that's why you got. Yeah, my computer was moving like crazy. Where do you live? Let me know where you live. Where is that earthquake so we can track how much it was on the Richter scale. Yeah, let us. Anyway, are you still online? If you're still there, let me know. Otherwise, we will move on. Unless this is a time lag, we have to wait quite a while. But yeah, so hope you're okay, Thibaut, and it's not just your computer that's moving, or maybe there's a joke in there that I don't quite understand. Anyway, have an amazing day. I'll see you on Thursday. Fingers crossed that maybe 4.1 on the Richter. There you go. Wow. Okay. Hope you're okay. And glad you're okay and you're still there and you still got internet connection, which is really what matters. But anyway, have a great Tuesday and Wednesday, and we'll see you on Thursday. Fingers crossed that maybe interest rates drop. They would surprise the market and everything will go up because the market definitely does not expect anything. But as we know, the biggest impact of interest rate changes is when nobody expects it. So there's always a glimmer of hope. Anyway, have a great day and see you soon. Thanks, guys. Bye for now. Made in America. Whoa.